Five Nights at Freddy's is a long... Five Nights at Freddy's is a long, complex series with a history of being treated super seriously by people who probably shouldn't take it so seriously. As a series, it's given rise to creators like Dawko and Fusion Z Gamer, and furthered the careers of people like MatPat and Markiplier, all four of which now have brand deals with the FNAF series itself, through clothing brands, plush toys, or simply just being allowed to use FNAF imagery whenever they want. But outside of the sphere of genuinely high-quality merchandise created by people who love the series to death, you get good stuff. FNAF merchandise. I'll admit, it's a topic I've wanted to talk about for a bit, but it just never really gelled all that well with the rest of my content. I see myself as a game reviewer who makes these little fun videos now and then where the topic isn't as formal. In this instance, I'm kinda making both those kinds of videos. Don't get me wrong, I will be tearing into Funko and all those other brands with a FNAF license, but at the end of the day, this is all just for fun. Whether or not agree with me is entirely your opinion, but opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. So let's start with the biggest source of FNAF ooey gooey goodness. The #1 manufacturer of FNAF-themed items, Funko. Funko is a company you've almost definitely heard of. They have their hand in the collectible market, producing vinyl figures of various pop culture icons. Their most popular product line is definitely their Funko Pop line, which is all about squeezing a character to fit in their usual template: big head, soulless eyes, scrawny body. I admit, I used to be an avid collector of these. I owned some from Star Trek, Batman, Walking Dead. Hell, I even bought one of their more recent figure lines, Demon Slayer. However, they also have a FNAF Pop figure line, and this is what makes the start of this video so awkward. I don't own one. But considering I do own some other Funko Pops and they're all made from the same material, I think I can still give my opinions on them. To date, every single game from the FNAF series with the exception of Security Breach are represented in the Pop lineup. The reason they didn't do Security Breach, I imagine, was probably because there wasn't much demand for the Pop figures, but other products Funko makes that we'll get to. While I don't have the time or energy to cover every figure, I'll at least talk about the very good and the very bad. Take, for instance, Toy Freddy. This is pretty much the only one of these figures I actually want to get my hands on at some point. The Funko template actually works really well with this character. It definitely helps that one of Freddy's stages is removing his eyes and making the sockets seem glossy. The only thing I don't really like about this figure is that I can't get my hands on it without it costing me an arm and a leg. And the colors. This Toy Freddy, for some reason, looks like he got left out in the sun for too long, and as usual, bright orange-brown has paled into more of a yellow-brown. While it's still probably the best, that does bother me a bit. But you know what bothers me a lot? Ooh, baby, where do I start? Funko just doesn't seem to understand the Phantom animatronics, like, at all. In fact, it seems like nobody does anymore. Like, for every game after FNAF 3, the Phantom animatronic designs were just suggestions. Phantom Foxy just looks like shit, I'll be honest. His whole thing is that he's this gross, muddied version of Withered Foxy, and he's missing an arm. So the colors are wrong, the arm is wrong, and hell, this isn't even a Withered Foxy. This is just a recolor of regular Foxy. I understand that as a company, Funko likes to take shortcuts, but come on. This is the only Phantom animatronic they even attempted to make a figure for. And being real, they dropped the ball big time. At least make a Phantom Chica Pop. That one does actually use our FNAF 1 design. It would be a very simple recolor. Okay, how about another one I actually like? This here is Funko's take on Toy Foxy. However, like all the other merch related to the character, they're labeled as Funtime Foxy. I've bitched before about how I don't like Toy Foxy's design, but I think I've come around on that. Whether ironically or not, I've actually come to love this character. This one is more so just a me thing, but this is another one I wouldn't mind owning. It's not as good as Toy Freddy, but it's fun. Oh, come on. The blacklight and tie-dye lines are often seen as the laziest of the lazy when it comes to Funko's design choices. This definitely marks the period where FNAF stopped being an indie game series and started being an overly loud pop culture phenomenon. Does anyone even actually buy these without being a reviewer on the internet? Anyway, there's a lot more we could say about the pop figures, but there is one more figure line I want to tackle from Funko, and this one I actually own one of. The arcade vinyl figures have an admittedly shorter run than the pop figures, but they have less restrictions on their designs and are overall just cooler in my opinion. It's like pop figures from an alternate universe. However, this short run is also controversial, and I'll explain why later. For now, this is the one I own. Nightmare Freddy. What I appreciate about this one is that not only is it merch of one of my favorite characters, but with that small stature and general shape, it kinda resembles the Freddles from FNAF 4. I also happen to buy this figure from Go Motion, so if you've seen her FNAF merch videos, you might have seen this very same figure before. The box itself is also really interesting to look over. If I had to guess, Funko had much larger plans for the arcade vinyls than they ended up pulling off. All along the sides of the box, you can see versions of the toy animatronics in this art style, but the only one of them to actually appear in the series is Toy Freddy. The entire series consists of Toy Freddy, Nightmare Freddy, Plushtrap, Foxy, and Golden Freddy. Now you may be asking, why do Foxy and Golden Freddy look so different from the first three? Well, that's where the controversy comes in. While I'm not sure if it's the case with the Foxy figure, Golden Freddy was actually stolen from an SFM animator, probably by a Funko employee who thought the design actually came from an in-game model. In fact, that's part of the reason so many FNAF fans don't support Funko, for its laziness, overlooking of details, and overall crappy business tactics. I own this. Funko plushes are probably their biggest source of income when it comes to the FNAF series, as they have an incredibly long lineup of them. Between these plushes and the pop figures, I'd venture to guess the plushes are what's bringing in more money, even if they overall cost less than the figures. For the first line of plushes, I pretty much have nothing but nice things to say to Funko, except in that they once again messed up Toy Freddy's colors, this time in the opposite direction, making them too dark. These plushes aren't abhorrent or anything, but they do bear all the signs of being a mass-produced product, I won't lie. I probably got really lucky with this Bonnie plush, as when it shipped, it was absolutely perfect. The fur was soft, the body was plush, and it had some real weight to it that I didn't expect. However, I also bought a Glamrock Freddy plush, and you can probably guess as to why I don't have that one anymore. The material between these two lines has gone down in quality drastically, with Glamrock Freddy feeling oddly rough and scratchy. Not to mention, whereas Bonnie had an actual bow tie under his chin, Glamrock Freddy's is printed on, once again ringing super cheap. The only thing I can compliment this one on is that it's at least kinda cute to look at, but they still ended up completely messing up his design. He's missing his shoulder pads and earring, most prominently, and without them he just looks like Toy Freddy after meth. But oddly enough, Glamrock Freddy isn't even the worst one of the bunch. Between the two, it's hard to tell if Roxanne or Vanny is the worst. Vanny, while looking cute, also doesn't look like Vanny at all, and Roxanne, while clearly being Roxanne, is not Roxanne in the slightest. Outside of Funko though, the plush game is really hit or miss. This here is the best one I own, Golden Freddy from Sanchi. Sanchi as a company specializes in video game items in the real world, and this is definitely one of their best products. While their line is also much smaller than Funko's, the plushes themselves are overall larger, softer, more high quality, and much more game accurate. Of course, this does come at a price, and although these are overall cheaper than the Talking Spamton plush, that one also advertised itself by having milk poured on it and then being thrown against a wall. So, what else is there to talk about? Keychains! FNAF and keychains go together like fast food and tapeworms. They are completely inseparable. Every now and then I bought one of these security breach keychains at a Target I visit. From this I've pulled Vanny, some kind of golden Glamrock Freddy, and Vanessa. Twice. Not only is Vanessa the ugliest of these ones, but also the one I own the most of. Fuck me. Funko's back, bitches. Did you not like the Chica Funko Pop because it was just too damn big in your garage? Well, now you can have this fucker on your keys. Nothing says I have sex like Funko's Foxy on a keychain, but probably the worst contenders in the keychain market, because that's somehow a market, the ones made by Just Play. These guys did make the security breach ones, and I'm still mixed on those, but their original line is just the most, what's the word? Bad one out there. Bonnie and Freddy both look like they're yelling out, "Stop! Don't buy me! Don't do it!" Mangle looks more like Toy Foxy getting undressed, and can anyone tell me what the fuck they were doing with Balloon Boy? He's got an endoskeleton hand and what looks to be a Sharpie? I do not know. Honestly, the only one of these to actually kinda look good to me is the puppet, and I think that's because it's inherently difficult to make a design this simple look bad. But they nearly did it. She has more forehead than a Splatoon idol. So where does that leave us now? Well, FNAF merch isn't exactly stopping anytime soon. Funko recently unveiled a new line of flippable plushies that turn characters into their nightmare forms, and a new line of figures called Snaps. These are definitely meant for like little children, but honestly, these could have been worse. I do think the gimmick of swappable faceplates is kinda cool, and their choice of a starting lineup isn't bad, but it is a little weird. Classic Bonnie, but there is Toy Bonnie, and he's packaged with Circus Baby for whatever reason. Golden Freddy and Chica both come with their own, playsets. Foxy is sold completely on his own, and Freddy and Springtrap are packaged together, and Springtrap has a little Springtrap puppet now. Overall though, I think this is the direction Funko should take the FNAF series. We don't need to see them try and cram Montgomery Gator into a Funko Pop, we just need something cool that fits the series. While I could go on and on about FNAF merch, I think that's enough this time around. If you want me to talk about FNAF merch in the future, you should like, subscribe, and share this video around. That's it out of me. Peace.